going by the definition of purpose and the fulfillment that comes with it, at that point, music was the only thing that gave me that, you know. So when it got to a point where I was going to now make a decision on what course to study in furthering my education after secondary school, I just realized that there were no schools that offered music production in Nigeria. This is what I mean. And being a ghetto street boy, you know, parents couldn't afford flying me abroad to study music production at the time. So then I went back to the books and realized that, okay, another thing I read in these books was that most of these great people left school to go do apprenticeship and kind of, you know, in their garage and just do stuff. I said, okay, cool, if I can't go to like a proper university in Nigeria to study music production and I can't go out to study at the time, okay, why not look for somebody that can mentor me, like intern, you know, under somebody and kind of serve. And that was how in 2005, I just researched, you know, speaking about the whole digital, you know, platform. And that was it. I just Googled, at the point I was in Abuja. So I just searched on the internet the best studio in Abuja and the best producer in Abuja. And TY Mix name popped up.
Hey, the OG.
Yeah, you know, big shout out to TY Mix, by the way, you know. So his name popped up and straight up located the studio. I went there and I just said, sir, I'm here to serve. I have interest in music production. I want to learn, teach me. And I'm willing to serve you. I want you to mentor me.
So, you know, like a couple of things I've gathered is maybe, you know, when your children turn 13, start giving them motivational books. Overture.
Yes, please.
Tell me about yourself. We'll start with Overture. You know, I was gonna say your name, but I was like, I wanted you to tell me what Overture meant.
Okay, so hello guys, thank you so much for being around. My name is Oladapo Ogunjobi, and I'm also known as Overture. My stage name is also Overture, business name Overture too. She was very curious as to what does Overture mean, and it's a question I get a lot. Basically, in the basic sense, Overture means opening, right? So it means opening. So it could be the opening of a music, it could be opening of a stage play, it could be the opening of whatever. It means music. It means opening, right? And coincidentally, there is this part of the camera called aperture, and it's the part of the camera that lets lights through the lens, right? So, and that word aperture, the other name for that word is overture, also opening. So at the point where, I mean, I've used various stage names. Some sounded very ridiculous.
I'm interested in the stage names.
One was Big D, and it was very off. Like when people were like, "Oh, Big D, Big D," I'm like,
wonderful.
No, this has to change, right? So it was a very it was a very conscious decision to change this name to something that would like transcend time. And I was chilling with my dad, drinking a bottle of wine. Then we started like talking, like what's the name going to be? What's the name going to be? He came up with the idea. It was like, you're a photographer, the camera, the lens. I was like, oh, Google, aperture. I was like, okay, this makes sense. But over time, the name has gathered more meaning for me personally, right? It's gathered more meaning because at the point where I started wearing the name, I started living the idea of openness. I started living the idea of opening things, right? And that's just something I really held on to. I'm like, okay, this makes so much sense. So overture in itself means opening, and when I now translate that meaning to what I do, I'm an artist, I'm a visual artist, yeah? So when I translate that meaning to what I do, I think about doing something different, right? Something new, something wow, something like, not something that was inspired by something else, but instead something that we just really think of from the vast field of ideas going around the world, basically.
So, I'm great. You know, I'm really, I would say that you met my expectation with the name Overture. Like, I'm super excited about, you know, the openness. You know, I think we should all be open-minded. So don't call yourself Overture, but be open-minded. So how did you get into art? I had photography. Was that where you started, or was it like art?
where did I start at? I started at a very young age, and that's why I was really like impressed when he said he started at a very young age, because I know that there's something about starting really early, because you get the opportunity to fail a lot, to make a lot of mistakes, also very early. But I started with drawing, like the traditional drawing at a very young age, talking 4 years, very young, as far as I could remember, because my mom owned the school. So when school is done and all the kids have gone home, I'm with my mom in the school, only me in the big school. Then my mom is in her office, so I'm like just when I play ball alone, I'll just start drawing. Like take the books, sound and read, biology, science books, just start drawing the things that are in it. So when I took that, like, so sometimes I'm drawing, then my mom is like, oh, we are going home. I'm like, okay, so I can actually take this drawing home. So I take the drawing home and I can't draw, right? So when I draw, then my dad comes back late, he's like, this drawing is nice, blah, 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 do more. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm gonna do more. So I kept drawing, then I started adding colors to my drawing, then my dad started tipping me literally, like, so when I draw, I'll put the drawing under a stable mat, and I'll go to bed. So when I wake up the next morning, I'll see like 20 naira, 10 naira there, and I'm like, I made
Support your children.
I made, at a very young age, I'm organized to buy biscuits, so it was not really like, but it encouraged me, right? So I did that, I drew, painted, best in fine art. Obviously, I was like the only student in fine art, in secondary school, but in primary school, I was best in fine art, everybody is doing fine art, and so I took it like, in secondary school, I knew, I'm not going to be a doctor. I was deceiving myself, I'm not going to be a doctor.
Somebody should have told me.
I would be an artist. So in secondary school, I decided that I was going to be an artist. And I thought about it, what is the easiest way to make the most meaningful art? And the camera came to me, right? So that was when, in secondary school, the camera came to me. So I started using the digital, that very small camcorder, Samsung, very small. Then I started using that one in secondary school to take pictures of flowers in the bush, And it was inspiring because I knew that something was special in what I was doing. Some days I'm in the bush, and I'm taking this picture of this pretty flower. Then there is this couple, they were driving past, and they saw me in the bush. And they were like, where's your mommy? And I was like, my mom is like, what are you doing in the bush? I'm taking a picture of this flower. Which flower? Come on, get out of the bush. Anyways, I came out of the bush and I showed them the picture of the flower. They were like, wow, this flower is beautiful. So immediately took that in. Then I knew, okay, this thing was special. People would react to it. So if they are so happy about this, they may just want to have it. Right, so meaning they can spend their money doing this. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go to school to study this. So I went to University of Lagos to study creative art, visual art to be precise. And I learned the philosophy of art. I got grounded in fine art, in philosophy, in science, and I did a lot of reading, fast reading in school. So in school, I already started seeking opportunities. I didn't know that, man, if I finish school and I'm not already having a stance before I leave school, it's not going to work out, because there is a phrase called starving artist, and I really don't hear that phrase in any other profession. So I'm like, it's by design. They want you to be a starving artist by design, because they believe that that's where the energy comes out the most from. I'm like, it's cool to go through different phases. I mean, I've been through phases of starving artists, right? So I think
you've been through a starving phase.
Yes, I've been through I've been through a starving phase so much. I have an artwork called Gary the Milky Way.
Sorry?
I've been through a starving phase so long that I have an art piece called Gary the Milky Way.
Gary
the Milky Way. It was literally made with Gary. It's another story. It was literally made with Gary. I had so much Gary in me at the time, and I was like, what do I do?
My guy drank so much Gary.
What do I do? I need to do art. So yes, I studied art in school. Then I knew that, okay, if I finish this and I'm not making sense, I would starve, right? So I said, okay, so in school, I already started hustling, like putting my portfolio out there. I was in my bed at the time in school. Then I sent out this portfolio review to the New York Times, randomly, very randomly. I just did it. I was like, what do I have to lose? Then I sent it, and lo and behold, like there's this part I read, do not fill the wrong email, blah, 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 blah. Then I filled in the wrong email, right? And it was sad, right? But this guy came to my Instagram. So meaning it's a portfolio review. So people all over, I have 3,000 people all over the world who fill this form. So if your email is wrong, you just go to the next person. But the art was so special, according to him, that he had to look for me on Instagram and be like, "You are coming to New York for the New York Times portfolio review." Right?
So, few things that I just want to highlight, right? Gospel mentioned his mom buying books that inspired him to drive, that drove his dreams for him to reach for the dream. Your father was giving you 20 naira for your painting. So if you take away anything today, support your children. It's very important. It's very key. That's what I'm saying. And I'm hearing a shooting your shot thing across here. You shot your shot, TY Mix. He shot his shot, New York Times. Bro, please, I'm trying to
because what I did with New York Times was so random that I did not really expect it to click. So when it clicked, I was like, wow, okay, this is serious. What do I really do from here? No idea, no clue of what to do, like no website, nothing professional, but the way I packaged it, right, it seemed like something was there, But so when they invited me, I was like, okay, now I have to do this. So I went, so it was a very beautiful experience. Then I came back and I was like, okay, now I know what to do. What I'm going to do is going digital.
I like how you just went going digital. Wow. It's mind-blowing that you both have like the same thing of parents supporting, same thing about going after your dream no matter how ridiculous it might seem. So speaking on that, the going after your dream. After you hit up TY, obviously I think you will intern with him for a bit. What was that next step?
Well, it wasn't for a bid actually. I served 2 armies for 8 years.
So you two, you had a starving artist phase. So did you call any song Gary? Because
no, but I was just inspired and motivated by the hunger and the challenges and all of that, And for me, I just wanted to do what made me happy. Like I just didn't see myself going to work and do something that didn't make me happy, And just a bit on my parents. It wasn't so easy convincing them. Just imagine pastors. Now these are not like pastors of some of these trendy urban UP churches. No, this one I mean like you're talking. I don't want to mention names, but you're talking that kind of Pentecostal, deep.
No, it's okay.
Rooted,
We've been
kind
there.
of thing. Then and just imagine when you say music producer at the point, an artist. People sagging their pants and like my guy's hair type of hair. My mom sees that kind of hair now. So those were the people that you want to be away and trust me, I'm the first. Do you get it? And my dad expected that I was going to wear his shoes as being a pastor, hence the name, gospel. But you see what happened was that
go into the world and spread the gospel.
But that's what I'm doing literally, anyways. But yeah. When I started working with TY, so serving an intern. Truth about it is that my parents didn't know. Yeah.
So you were sneaking out of the house?
So now the thing is that TY said pay 40,000 naira so that he could teach me. And he said it's not because he needed the money, just so that I can be committed and take it seriously and I'll value, what he was going to teach me. I didn't have that money at the time. 40,000 naira in 2005 was like 40 million naira.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
To me at that point. So I called my mom and I said, loan me 20K, and she did. She didn't know what I was going to do with it.
Sorry. Did you pay her back?
Okay, well, I didn't, I've not paid her back.
That was her support.
Yeah. But you see, so she gave me that money, I took it to YMX, and I said, you know what, just give me like 6 months to serve. I can save up and pay the balance, which I never paid anyways.
God is good.
So fast forward from that moment, I started working with 70 YMX, and I witnessed music creation on a level that blew my mind. Now I just mentioned a few hit records that YMX produced that I was that studio rat, doing record, stop, delete, and I'm just sleeping in the studio every other day. Songs like 10 over 10, NATO C, Yeah, I was studio rat when that song was recorded. 5 and 6. Sasha's Adara. Like.
Wow.
So I was the guy pressing record. Did this stuff, and everybody just, and the truth about it is that everybody just liked me. Gospel, this very quiet, shy guy, but genius. Hello, I need to put that in because they said it. It wasn't me. They said it. They're like, this guy's a genius. So because I was very good with the keys and all that, and Tiwa will always tell me about the value that I brought, which was just knowing how to play the instruments. And every other night I would tell him, sir, can I stay back at the studio to study and to learn? He said yes. I said, okay. The next thing was, sir, can I go to your projects, open them just to study your mixing patterns and how you make? And he said yes. And that was it. So every other night I would go on YouTube and I would Google, then I would go and I would be studying and learning. The next day I'm back to the studio. Literally, I'm not exaggerating, 4 to 5 of these years, or those years when I was, nothing less than 8 to 10 hours I was putting into just developing myself. Nothing like, because you see, from those books I read again, I realized that, you see, self-development is the greatest investment you can literally, make, and just investing in yourself. I just wanted to be, not like be the best in the room, but I just know, say, once I'm in that room and you say gospel come on the keys or gospel come onto the system, I just wanted to kill it, because I realized that when preparation meets opportunity, success is inevitable. So for me, I just kept preparing myself, waiting for that opportunity, and I literally just learned all of this up until the time that I now finally met Davido, and produced.
Like today you have just 5/6, 10/10, Davido, all this with preparation to, you were, so basically what I've gathered from what you said so far is you did not wait to meet the point before you started to get prepared for the point.
You know why? Because you cannot even be practicing. Yeah, you can practice on the pitch, like when the match is actually on. So you have to just make those preparation, waiting for the opportunities, because I knew opportunities were going to come. These books helped me on the, I just understood the process of moving from where you are to where you want to be in life. So I was just applying it as at when, I meet those challenges, or, I need to apply those information I learned from the book.
Wonderful. So, my uncle, New Yorker overture. So, now before you went, so not even before you went digital, how did you start to go digital? Like, was it a thing of I opened an Instagram account and I just started to post my art? Or was it a thing of you became more intentional with the kind of, because I know that prior to content creation becoming like, I think 2020 was what changed the way we perceived content, because we're all at home and people then started to create content that we saw that was useful to us. Prior to 2020, it was about people being influencers because they posted nice pictures. I think that was more the route. It was when 2020 came that content creation really became a thing. So was it like pre-2020 where you just like posting your art, like?
So being digital for me was a very seamless thing to do, because I was already taking photographs, and photographs are basically digital, right? I was already doing this Windows paint in Windows, right? I was already doing After Effects, Photoshop. I was doing those things. So before I thought about it, like, oh, I need to be out there, I was good as a stabbing artist. Like, my art was good. You feel me? Like, I
mean, you went to New York.
Before I went to New York, this was before. I mean, the art was so good that it took me to New York. You feel me?
That's what
so,
I mean.
so before I went there, I was good. I was starving, and I was like, wow, I'm so good. I'm so starving. Like, it's not adding up. So when I understood that, okay, you're an artist, you're an introvert. Yes, you're shy, but you have to make money, and the way to make money right now is to put yourself out there. Now get a website. I did this week's website, it was not it, right? Then I got another website that started adding up. right? So when I had the website, I was like, okay, now I have to like keep posting online so more people would see what I'm doing, right? Then when I started posting, so before I would just make it nice work and I'll post it, then the kind of people that would see it would be like, oh, nice one. But when I post an artwork and I put the price, then they are saying nice one, how can I get it? And I'm like, oh, now there's a difference. So I need to do more of this, right? I need to post more. I need to put this good art that I enjoy and people around me enjoy. I need to make more people enjoy it, right? So I started posting more, and more. But in the digital space, it's a very long journey, right? So I'm just in another phase of the digital space because the digital space is going, like it's going all the way to artificial intelligence, things we can't really explain right now. But I mean, when it started with basic digital photography, basic Photoshop. Then I started doing video. Then I made this particular piece in 2017 when I just came back from New York, right? So when so one very interesting thing I did while I was there. Okay, I'm an artist here. So what do I do? What's the biggest space in the art world? Art museum. So I'm talking about Christie's, I'm talking about Sotheby's, I'm talking about Phillips. These are the guys that do like trillions of dollars annually in art. So I walked into these buildings. I literally just walked into this building. I was like, yo, I'm an artist and I'm so good. And then they were like, oh, let's check you up online. I was like, oh shit, I'm not online, right? Wow. So I had nothing to show, but so they're like, oh, let's see the art. Then they saw they were like, this art is good, but we only promote art of non-living artists. And I'm like, oh wow.
Wait.
I was like, oh wow. And I was very funny because I said, so if I like, when you guys think about it, I mean, for my family and stuff back in Nigeria, I'm like, where's Nigeria? And I'm like, never mind. So I just like, so I did this in various galleries, and I was exposed. I saw things with the prices, and I was like, okay, we are not in the same space. Like what we are seeing here is not what we are doing here, and the world is a global village, right? Yeah. So we must tap into this thing. So I came back and I did this piece. It's so hilarious because the name of this piece is Things We Do for Money. Just thinking about it now.
For money.
Just thinking about it now. The name of the piece is Things We Do for Money, and that was the first time I had the idea of the thing closest to what we know as augmented reality today.
Okay, so I don't want you to go into that augmented reality till like I'm like, you know, like, because I know that that's the thing that you do.
Yes.
That's your major thing, you know, with your collection.
Yes.
We have, you know, we'll get into that. Big man overture. Gospel, digitalization. How were you able to, yes, you've produced for the biggest acts in Nigeria, but how were you able to digitalize? I know music is somewhat already digital in the sense that you did not beat on top computer. But how were you able to, I know it's more, that was a joke, man. It's more than that. Please do, it's more than that. I've worked with so many producers, and there's one thing I'll tell you is like, production is intention meeting. Like, I feel like it's creativity, it's intention, then when you put it together, that's when it's now wonderful, you know? And skill, thank you, skill. It takes a lot, but what I'm trying to say is that how were you able to digitalize it in the sense that, you know, today we have what is AI, Web3, all those things. How were you able to digitalize it even on social media in terms of like content and pushing the music farther than your already known audience?
Okay, so for me, going digital basically was just, like you said, music is already digital, you make it digitally, and also we put it out on digital platforms and all of that. But beyond that, I just want to talk about marketing and sales, you know, for instance. I want to talk about marketing and sales. So, like what Overture said, you know, you call the word now starving artist, yeah. So for me, I was just passionate about it. My major inspiration musically is the love of it, the passion. I loved and I still love how I feel when I make music, because it makes me feel like a god. Because just imagine creating. So an hour before studio, there's nothing on the system, it's just blank. Then 2 hours, 3 hours down the line, everybody's dancing. That's magical. Like that's great. Trust me.
I know.
You know, yeah?
I know.
Okay, cool. So, but then almost they blew me well. Like I was starving. It was for the love. I was loving it, but I was hungry. You see what I mean? Now that hunger wasn't by choice. I just said I don't get back, so ciao. You see what I mean? You know, but then the love for it, the passion, and just hearing this great music filled me up. Nevertheless, but you see, after I met the video and I produced all of you in 2012, right? And I saw, you know, the fame and everything it brought, but it didn't bring money. It just brought fame. You see what I mean? And I would go out in Abuja, everybody like gospel on the beat, but then gospel on the beat guy, they're hungry, like, and I can't just tell you, bro, I never jam. Because I produced that jam still as an apprentice.
Ah.
On that 2 mix, yeah.
So wait, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So did you have an idea of like, you know how they get like split sheets, all of those?
Well, there was nothing like that in Nigeria at the point. Yeah, we had like, I don't want to mention names, some people said they were doing stuff like that, but it was not structured.
So you were really hungry?
Very hungry.
Because if I recall, that jam was a...
Exactly. But you see, I'll tell you how I now leverage the digital, you know,
yes,
tools.
Please,
yes,
please,
exactly.
Please,
because see, you know, they say once your passion is no longer sustainable, it's no longer enough, right? It can lead to frustration, and that's the truth. So I was starting to get frustrated with everything happening, and I said, okay, wait a minute, like I'm gospel on the beat, like this jam, right? Okay, how do I now? There was BBM, BlackBerry, and what's it called now? Facebook, majorly. So what I did, I said, now from those books I read again, then thank God for my mom actually, because they say,
read books.
Now, I only had one stream of income at the time, actually two. So I was playing in church and collecting bar. Then also I was a student and apprentice, and I would get like 1,000 naira, 2K, 3K
Sorry,
production fee.
In 2005?
Yeah.
It's 1,000 naira.
For production fees as an apprentice, yeah. That's how I started. It dropped 1,000 naira, 2K.
So they paid you 1,000 naira for all of you?
No, I wasn't paid for all of you. Yeah, I will say it is my story. Big shout out to Davido, by the way, but he don't pay me like, yo, I got big love for him though. But anyways, no, but I was passionate about it. I didn't ask for the bar because I was excited to be in the studio with Davido.
I get that.
You need to get that. Okay, anyway, so now back to the story. I said, okay, 2 streams of income. Yeah, this book says to be really successful, you need multiple streams of income. I'm like, okay, the only way you can make more money is to add more value. Don't work for money, don't look for money. Just find problems, create solutions, and the byproduct of you delivering that value is money that comes in. You know, so understanding that, I said, okay, how can I mean, this is motivational stuff, but how can I bring it into my reality? And I said, okay, I went on Facebook, BBM and all of that. I said, produce 1 track for X amount, 1 track with, what's it called, online promotion. That's what I did, yes, for X amount.
So that's how you went digital?
Yeah, so I went to one of my friends called Rollins, big shout out to Rollins, he's in the US. So I said, Rollins, everybody in Abuja comes to you to put their songs on Not Just Okay, to Exclusive, Jagoda and all this P, yeah? I said, how much do you literally pay these people? Like, how much do you really pay them? All of this. I said, give me 10 blogs, right? Now, if I come to you, let me just give you an example, I can't remember. Let's say he pays them 20K each, and but then he charges artists like 50K to put your song on 1 blog. But then what me I would do is that I said, if I pay you like 25 or 30, and I bring lots of jobs to you every month, what discount can you give to me? So we negotiated. Then I'll go back to the studio, I went on Facebook, went on my BBN, and I made flyers and all of that, and I'll post and say, record a track with me and promote on 10 blogs, right? For X amount. So it was a package, and people started coming. And the first one, now the truth about it is that integrity is key. Do not say what you can't do, and when you say it, to make sure you do, because our business is not the type that you put signposts and say, I'm a music producer, or I say music studio, no, by recommendation. And literally, your work, your integrity and all of that will make people, you know, like a word of mouth recommendation. So I did for the first person, produced a great track, an Abuja-based artist, and his song went on all 10 blogs when he released. He was happy, and before you know, they kept coming. So I did that for a long time. And at some point, I even went to negotiating with radio OAPs and presenters to say, okay, I now created on our package for one track production, online 10 listed, and also 5 radio stations in Abuja. So that was the business aspect, because it's called showbiz for a reason. There's the show part and there's the business part. So if you do not pay attention to the business of the creative, your passion will lead to frustration, literally.
If you do not pay attention to the business of the creative, your passion will lead to frustration. I hope you took notes down. Wonderful. Because like, he went digital, but didn't just stop at, I'm a producer. He looked for other opportunities, and then, he saw that there was a problem. I'm fixing a problem for you people with this package that I'm giving you. You are really a genius. You are wonderful. They were not lying. They don't lie. Integrity. Overture. Open up to us about how you open up to us about your digital process. Because
Okay.
from starving artists to
like I said, this digital thing is very broad. So one part of it I'm focused on is augmented reality.
yes. Augmented reality.
Reality, yes.
Please explain what it is.
Okay, so basically, augmented reality is the bridge, in basic sense, is the bridge that allows us connect seamlessly with the digital world and the physical world. Wow.
That sounds like a spiritual bridge.
No, it's wow. Like it's really wow. It's that bridge, it's that link that think about it again, that allows us connect seamlessly with the physical world and the digital world. So because there is no world without the physical world as of today, and there is no world without the digital world. Like if you're a business and you're not online, even if you're doing drugs, you would there are places you'll be online because of the way it is though. I'm just saying.
You need to find your market.
So I'm just saying, so everybody's online, people who are doing this are doing it online. So when I looked at augmented reality, I said, this is genius. Like it's literally in our front. Like when I realized that, okay, augmented reality is not just the future, but it's now, it's the present, it's something we've seen in movies and we didn't really think about, right? So I reviewed this thing, I'm like, you see when the Iron Man does this,
yeah, that thing was very exciting
all those
to
things,
me.
that thing is augmented reality, right? Because what is moving is digital, but it's in the physical space. So you can put that digital thing in this corner and put this one in this corner seamlessly, right? So I figured out that okay, augmented reality is just starting. It means it's been around for a while and it's just starting, and I'm an artist. So if I understand that when a mobile phone came through, people did not start thinking, oh, I'm a doctor, how will I use a mobile phone? No, it just happens that everybody now has a mobile phone. We didn't really overthink it, to say, oh,
We just did it.
I'm a carpenter, what am I using a mobile computer to do? No, it's just something you just have. So when I heard Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, he expressed something. He said that when we use augmented reality, we would wonder how we lived without using it this long. Right? That is how functional it's going to be. That's how important augmented reality is going to be in the nearest future, right? So when I tapped into it, I said, oh, there's something about art. Art is that thing that transcends time.
Yeah.
Right? Art is that thing that transcends time. Art is something, when you look at an art piece, it's like, it could have been done 100 years ago and it could be done 100 years later. It's still art, right? And it's similar to music. All those chants, when you listen to it on Spotify, you're still vibing to it, but it's like 100 years old songs kind of thing. And you're still going to vibe to it in the future. So music and art is something that transcends through time. So I said augmented reality was something that I'm going to tap into now. So I said, how will I tap into augmented reality? I mean, what I'm doing is basically wall art. I do artworks, images, and I want you to put it in your space and enjoy. So when I said, oh, I do video format of art, digital, and I print out my artwork and put it on the wall, physical, how do I bring it together?
The bridge.
The link, how do I bring it together? When I did it and I saw it for the first time, it was like I didn't create it. It felt like I'm not the one that made the artwork, and this artwork is titled "Things We Do for Money." That one I mentioned. It felt like I did. It felt like it came from another place, and I was like, oh, this is genius, right? This is genius. I came with my special advisor. When he saw the film, when he saw the piece for the first time, he said, "We're going to make billions." That was the first thing they said. We're going to make billions, and I was like, oh, good, no,
Did you not?
yeah, you know. So I mean, we're still on it, you know. So when I put in the augmented reality, the first person to see it was me, and I was mind blown. Then the second person was wild, and the third person was wild. Then like Don Jazzy was wild.
So
You know. So I mean, I posted. People were confused. Oh, now Juju be this is a lie. This After Effect. This is not happening. But Don Jazzy was like, bro, what you are doing is fire. I need this shit. So I delivered to him, and I was like, wow. Then he posted. Then more people saw it,
Yeah.
and I became the augmented reality guy.
So that's how. So basically, leveraging. So we're here to learn about leveraging digital opportunities in this digital age, and so far what we've gathered is, first, in this digital age that we live in, you can't continue to do things in the way that you used to. In the sense that, so I'm just going to use myself as an example.
Okay.
Coming from someone that makes music, I can't continue to rap in my room and expect that people see it outside. You have to put yourself out there, because that's what Gospel did when he put himself out there and said, I produce music for you. Not only did he produce, he said, I'm going to solve a problem for you in sense of how you're going to get out there for people to be able to see you. Overture opened us to a bridge that shows us, the physical and the digital. He brought it to our reality, augmentedly. But point is, in the digital age, for you to leverage all the opportunities, you have to first start with putting yourself out there. So, in putting yourself out there, I just want us to talk about how people that are just starting, or people that are scared of the digital space, because it can be very scary, especially now that you can post a picture and 1,000 people have 1,000 things to say to you. There's something you say that results cancel out the insults, and I think that's something that I wonder, like, how do I cancel out the insults?
First, how you cancel out the insults, you have to be very good at what you do. So that no matter how they insult you, they might not like you, but let them need you. That's one of my own mantra, like, say, you might not like me, I don't even want you to like me, but I want to be able to create products, services, values that you would need. You don't need to even know I'm the one behind it. This is what I mean. So putting yourself out there speaks, you need confidence. Like, you have to be very confident. If you're not confident in what you've created, in your work, in your product, how do you want another person to patronize you when you can't even sell it so well to me? Convince me. This is what I mean. So speaking about result counseling, all the insults, is just say be very good at what you do, but beyond just being very good at what you do, value at an excellent level. Do not settle for less. You see there are a lot of mediocres everywhere and it just feels like when one person does something just a bit more, they are called geniuses. Yes, that's the world we live in, especially in Africa and in Nigeria. This is what I mean. But just going beyond that, mediocrity level to a point of excellence, and that excellence is not necessarily competing or comparing yourself with someone. No, it's like you competing with your own self, your own product, and the values that you're creating right now, is what I mean. So just living every day, making sure that you go beyond that and you live above, average.
Living what? So you have, I'm just going to say, that is so being confident in what you do. So as a person in the entertainment space, or like, even if you're not in the entertainment space, there's this thing about believing in yourself beyond what people think you are. And that's something that my mom told me as a kid. Like, whatever you're doing, because I used to be very shy. I couldn't step up to a microphone. I used to get really scared. And then they'll tell you, You know, if somebody actually told me today, imagine everybody naked. I probably shouldn't. But my point is, I'm just joking. My point is, you have to believe in yourself more than anybody else could believe in you. And that's what takes you to. So even in putting yourself out there, you have to be confident. So, like, you know, like you were confident and you went for it and told. I'm really tripped because I've seen people that do what I do, but I'm never confident to be like, I did do.
Sorry, I'll give you an example. It's like what Virtual said when you go and you say you're the best in what you do, right? And when you say you're the best in what you do, it's not necessarily comparing it with other people in that industry. No, I'm just telling you that what I'm going to give to you is something that will give you a whole new experience at an excellent dope. I almost said dope class level. Oh, I said it, sorry. Anyway, so okay, let me just speak about. So all of you, by the video, like song I produced, was the first, like was my first hit record that went beyond the shores of Abuja, Nigeria, Africa, and that's the truth. Yeah. Now, how I met Davido, I walked up to him when he came to Abuja for a show. I walked up to him somewhere in Silverbird Galleria, and I said, "Hi, Davido. My name is Gospel. They call me Gospel on the Beat. I work at the best studio in town, and trust me, I need you to come to the studio and you hear beats you've never heard before." Yeah.
So.
And he looked at me and he was like, you know how he just looked at, was like, "I'll come in the evening."
Wow. So he not only believed in himself, he sold himself at every opportunity that he got. Because when you put out the flyer, you're actually selling yourself online. And then in person, meeting Davido, you sold your market straight up. Like, yo, I'm doing this and I'm the best at it. And I will blow your mind. So before you go and tell somebody that you can blow their mind, and that will work on blowing your own mind away. So that you know that you are the best, though, like nobody can talk to you. Uncle Vacho. You are the best. Creating bridges. Like you say, Todd Milan Bridge. Wonderful. So, what you want to say to like people in the art space? Because like you stood out when you did augmented reality. I think if I'm correct me. I think you're one of the first people in Nigeria doing it on the level that you're doing it.
Yes.
How did you like how did you even think, okay, I've done this thing, it's busted a couple people in my closed space. Like how did you think, oh, I'm just gonna go for it? Like what made you go for it online? Like what made you even sell your markets?
Okay.
Advice?
Yeah, so like I'm an artist. I have thousands of artworks, a lot.
Thousands?
Over time, yeah.
Make
over,
plenty.
Over plenty. And they're all good.
And
See? Like they're all good. So I knew like, oh, I cannot put out 1,000 artworks. It's going to be overwhelming. I cannot even put out on it doesn't make any sense. What do I do? Then I start thinking, right? I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm talking about when it came to me to do the 1111 project. That's Africa's first augmented reality art experience, right? So I said, okay, I'm born April 11, so let's start with 11, right? Let me use 11 as the core of this thing. And right before then, I've always been saying 1111 everywhere, angel number, numerology, 1111 is this, wish something, do this thing, do that thing. I'm like, this is not forced because like, I'm born April 11, right? So it's I'm not thinking about it. Then in that space of not thinking about it, I also, just to chip this, I also met the girl, born April 11, right? So yeah, my girlfriend now as we speak. So it was like a very awesome 11 thing, divine. You understand, like divine. So I said, okay, I'm going to just do 11 artworks. I'll start with 11 artworks, right? Make a limited edition of 1111. That's 1,111 each, and I'm going to sell each piece for $111.10.
100 and do we are they still for sale? Can I still buy it?
Of course, it's still
you can still buy it.
So I priced. So I think when I looked at the calculator and I saw the figures, I just knew that I wasn't doing any other. Like I wasn't doing any other thing. I was just going to have to do this because it's. So the thing about it is that as fine arts, it is really good. So if it's just an artwork that people come to see and enjoy and go back to them, they will go thinking about it, right? So if something you can't even buy is good, then if it's something you want to buy, it's even better, right? So I was like, oh, this thing is something people will buy. Then lo and behold, the first sale, very, very stressful, very like hard to explain. You know, this thing is like this, it does this thing, it's a very long thing, right? But one very interesting thing, and why I say what augmented reality is doing basically is linking that physical world and the digital world, because I knew like, okay, I'm posting online but I'm not getting any sale, right? So now what do I take a physical piece and I literally go to a market, right? An art market, and I'm like, I need you to sell this thing for me. And the guy's like, you can't sell this thing, it's nothing, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, if you sell it, how much will you give me? All those kind of, disturbing attitudes. How much you give me? And the guy was like, okay, just go. Whenever we said it, we'll start having a conversation. That day, it got sold, right? So after it got sold, the guy was like, oh, it got sold, oh, wow. So how much you want like this? I'm like, bro, we should have talked about this thing, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, he started giving me what you gave me, and I didn't really care because I had like 1,000 more to go, so I wasn't bothered. But lo and behold, what happened was, as the guy, that person that bought from that market was a man, and at that same day, that same moment, a woman had just messaged me on WhatsApp, right, to make a purchase. Lo and behold, they were couple. Right? So there were couples that did. So one guy bought the piece and the other one bought the piece. So it was when they got home that they realized that they bought. So at that point I said, okay, this is as special as this could get. I mean, that was the launch. I remember that clearly being the launch of first revenue from the 1111 project.
So, you know, what I've gathered today is be confident in your art. Put yourself out there online. And before you do, make sure that, you know, like you said, his artwork already busted everybody's head in his community. So put it out there, even if it's just a start with your friends. Make sure that at least your friends know what you're doing, believe in what you're doing. Then, no, even if they don't believe, really and truly, if you believe, that's all that matters. Step out there and sell your market. Because nobody's going to sell your market if you're in your house. So in leveraging digital, the world has gone digital. Don't keep thinking in the analog. Expose yourself, open up yourself overjoyed and see things differently. Preach your gospel and see things differently. So thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope you had an amazing time. My name is Karen.